Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call to order our first and only hearing of the evening. This is a continued hearing. This is the application of the Oldfield Family LLC. They're appealing an enforcement letter from our building commissioner, Joseph Prondak, that's dated January 31st, 2014. Their nursery is located in the Residence AA zoning district, 270 Hillside Street and other parcels. And the appellants are contending that they disagree with certain portions of an enforcement order that Mr. Prondak filed on January 31st, 2014, based upon case law and the Dover amendments and other reasons that have been set forth in memoranda filed with the court. Let me deal with some preliminaries. My name is John Leonard. I'll be chairman for this continued hearing. With me tonight, to my immediate left, is board member Virginia Donahue King, and to my immediate right is board member Brian Hurley. We're going to have the same rules that we had at the previous hearing, except that that the evidence is technically closed in this hearing. When we finished the original hearing, the nursery, the Oldfield Family LLC, had filed a very extensive memorandum of law that Mr. DeLuna, their attorney, filed, and the board wanted to have sufficient time to read that, and so we closed the evidence at the hearing except for submittals, and we did receive a letter from Matthew Dunn, the attorneys for the Philip Johanning and John Rowe. It's dated April 15th, 2014. It's in 4 pages with an exhibit showing the subject premises. And also subsequent to the closing of the last hearing, we received some materials from Mrs. Oldfield on behalf of the Oldfield family. It's entitled Thayer Nursery Ads for the ZBA, and it consists of a series of advertisements, and I'll call them historical advertisements, as to the types of product and materials that had been sold at the Thayer Nursery over a period of time. So we thank the applicant for those materials, and we'll certainly have them as part of the evidence at the hearing. We're recording the hearing as usual, so that would ask that before anyone speaks, speak up nice and clear and loud. Tell us your name and address so we'll have a clear record of the proceeding. Just in summary, for those people who may be watching on TV, the attorneys presented extensive legal arguments and evidence at the last hearing, and the case really involves Mr. Prondak's letter of January 31st, 2014, and it deals with 4 paragraphs. We asked Mr. Prondak to visit the nursery and make findings as to the compliance of the nursery with the board's decision, which was rendered on September 26, 2013, which decision was appealed to the Norfolk Superior Court, I believe, and is presently on appeal there. The first paragraph of Mr. Prondak's letter dealt with the sale of potted plants and ornaments and birdhouses and the like. And in summary, Mr. Prondak said that a lot of those uses could be considered accessory and incidental to the operation of the nursery, as long as they were not considered bulk merchandising, which he found was not the case with respect to those particular items. The second item was basically a cease and desist order regarding the sale of paving stones, curbing, granite, bluestone, limestone, stone pavers, and the like, including the sale of patio furniture, propane tanks, wood-fired heating appliances, portable grills, and the like. And at the last hearing, the appellant indicated that they were not challenging that portion of the order. Paragraph 3 dealt with the bulk storage of loam, mulch, stone dust, gravel, wood, and other products, which Mr. Prondak ruled must cease, except those items could be sold in retail-level bags, but the nursery could keep on-site the use and the storage of those products as they were necessary for the maintenance of the nursery stock. And that is a contested item here. And the last item was dealing with Mr. Prondak's inspection of trucks and equipment on the property at the time of his visit, which was on November 25th, 2013, and whether the equipment that was on the site at that time, and perhaps at the time of our view of the premises, which I think was a couple of weeks ago, was really equipment relating to the landscape construction business as opposed to the nursery use. So that basically, that's what we're concerned with here, is 3 and 4. So as I say, the evidence has concluded. We have both attorneys here. Do you want to come up, Mr. DeLuna or Mr. Dunn, or are you content to stay back there? I don't know whether you have anything further you want to add in terms of arguments or summation.
With regards to our argument, if you guys have read the brief that I submitted, the April 15th brief, and looked at the map, that will summarize our position with regards to any additional argument.
Mr. DeLuna?
We have submitted everything. We have nothing further. One thing did come up, I believe yesterday. There was a mulch fire in this town, and we didn't know whether that was going to be an issue. We did speak to our supplier and asked if the product that was on their nursery would be subject to spontaneous combustion. I have a letter from the producer, if you want it, saying it's a totally different material and why the material on their nursery is not subject to spontaneous combustion.
I don't really think that's before us at the present time, so I don't think we
I
need
just
that.
didn't know whether it would be an issue because of yesterday's occurrence.
Okay, I think it's not, unless my colleagues.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So thank you very much. I want to really thank the attorneys and the parties here. They've really worked hard and diligent on this particular issue. We appreciate the Thayer Nursery making the premises available for our site visit. I thought that was very, very helpful. The lawyers were present, except for Mr. DeLuna, who had another engagement, but the parties were present, and I think the view took probably 45 minutes, and we did have, to my view, unfettered access to the Thayer Nursery site, which, as I say, for which we thank everybody. So, without further ado, Mr. Hurley, do you want to be heard on your view of the evidence and how this appeal should be decided?
The record will reflect the fact that we issued a decision back in February of this year. I assume that's been appealed as well.
It has been, both of them.
And we
have been.
spent, the three of us, same board members, spent a fair amount of time in that context, in drafting a decision. And I think the decision was a difficult one, but I think it was the right decision. I still do, having read it again last night. So nothing, in my view, nothing's really changed since we wrote that decision in February. The way I look at this proceeding, whether or not we have jurisdiction, as Mr. Dunn has suggested that we don't, I see this as simply Mr. Prondak doing his job in trying fairly to interpret our February decision and previous decisions, and having made that interpretation and to enforce it in the way that he saw fit. And my sense is, with respect to the paragraphs that you just outlined a moment ago, Mr. Leonard, my sense is that the building inspector was correct in his determinations, and without really, there's not much more to say about that as far as I'm concerned. I'd be inclined to uphold the building inspector's decision, building commissioner's decision, and that's how I would be inclined to vote.
Thank you very much. Mrs. King, please.
Make it short and sweet. I do agree that the decision-making process was a good one. It was a good decisions. And I have confidence in Mr. Prondak's decision on everything as well, so I see nothing that should change.
Okay. Well, from my perspective, I did read the decision. I read Mr. Prondak's letter closely. I certainly read Mr. DeLuna's 60 or 70-page submittal, which was very interesting and contained some innovative arguments. I certainly understand, have read and understand Mr. Dunn's most recent submittal and his arguments regarding what the site was like from a historical perspective to try to rebut inferences that may be drawn from the advertisements. I think this. I thought Mr. Prondak's letter was particularly well-written. I thought it was thoughtful. I thought he tried to make distinctions where distinctions could reasonably be made. I think it's in conformity with the spirit of our decision, and maybe with the letter of our decision, whether with respect to the storage of bulk and loam and that type of thing. I understand the nursery's position is that not only do they need that for nursery purposes, but they've been selling mulch and loam for a long period of time, and I think it's Mr. DeLuna's position that they should be able to sell that even in bulk by reason of the Dover Amendment, because these are earthen materials. They're materials which are farm-like materials. And I understand that argument. I don't know that I've seen a case that actually has so found, but I understand the argument. And I think that I'm not going to buy that argument in the sense that if you push it to perhaps an extreme position, you could have somebody come in, order 20 tons of loam or mulch, and as long as it was delivered by the nursery, but not, I'll say installed, but I mean I've lost the word. As long as it wasn't applied or worked on by the nursery, Mr. DeLuna's position is that's protected by the Dover Amendment. But I think that that's the type of very active construction-like uses that the board found inimical in our original decision. And I think that's a argument and a distinction that Mr. DeLuna will certainly be making with the Superior Court on this case. And I think that really that's what everyone needs here. I don't think you need more Board of Appeals hearings. I don't think you need more legal arguments, at least before us. I think that get thee to the judge, I think, is what everyone needs. And as quickly as possible and as inexpensively as possible, and get these matters decided once and for all. And there are some excellent judges sitting out in Norfolk these days, and the last two judges in the first session are outstanding judges. So it's my hope that that quality of the judiciary continues, so you can get this matter on for a hearing and get it determined. That having been said, it's my view that the building inspector did a thoughtful and thorough and highly professional job on this letter, and I intend to vote to uphold the building commissioner's letter and to vote to dismiss the within appeal. So all those in favor of, unless I'm missing something?
No.
Okay, all those in favor of affirming the building inspector's letter of January 31st, 2014, in dismissing the appellant's appeal of the building commissioner's letter, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. With that having been said, thank you for coming tonight, and and thank you, Mr. Prondak, for coming tonight, and we'll be adjourned.
Thank you.